Very good. How you doing, my man?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. I am we got up a bit earlier today, so I've been pushing my body a little bit more, so more pushing,
Nice.
more rest, so that way maybe I can sustain that.
Been loving the videos, mate. The tennis and the working out. It's coming along nicely on all your channels.
Something that's been a little harder to record myself in, but I'll figure that out soon, is I'm playing soccer. So the love that you have for rugby is what I have for soccer.
Nice.
Um I'm back in it. I was injured for a while and then I chased bodybuilding for a little bit.
Yep.
And now I was reignited, inspired because I saw this Facebook ad, tryouts for this team. They win almost everything they do. They do tournaments, and that sparked my interest. So I'm going to the tryouts tomorrow, and whether I make it or not, it'll give me a target and vision of where I want to be in my fitness and my skill level. Because what about competition to you makes you want to be in the national team? Because that's one of your goals, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love the sport so much. I mean, if you understand anything about Kiwis, New Zealanders, to play for your country, to play for the All Blacks would be the greatest dream of any Kiwi kid that has been brought up with rugby. So that's our national sport. So one tier off that is touch rugby, which is just, it's not rugby, but it's the summer version. And you don't get injured as much. So it's really good for longevity. You can play until you're to your 60s. I know guys in their 70s playing. So you can play in the community for years and decades and decades. It's amazing sport. Anyway, so to play in that, to play my favorite sport, doing what I love with a great bunch of guys at the highest level, for me would be a dream come true. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm inspired to follow that dream.
It's been a lifelong one. Like you said, I guess it's countrywide, which is bigger than myself, but
Yeah,
I
and within it, it's you can have games within games. So there's kind of like this chess part of the game. There's a cardio element. There's a camaraderie element. There's a connection element. There's a skill element. So there's all these various things that you can develop, and it's just such a multifactorial sport because you're playing chess. You've got to outwit, outthink, outcraft the opposition. So I love it. There's so many elements you can develop, and it never ends. The learning is never ending, which as an Ignite person, I love.
exactly. And so I'm more focused, or I just feel more excited about this, which changes up some of my weekly goals. Um, because lifting weights is fun and it's good and it feels great and I loved it and I love it. But playing a sport is the direct translation to your body's ability to move in an efficient way for a purpose.
Right, right.
So that's where I'm at. But other areas too are thriving and flowing. Um excited for our Tuesdays, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, how's Colombia?
Amazing. Yeah. Colombia is just so warm, hot, and just it's a different culture, different vibe. I found a gym over here, which I love, the one I was in last year. So I just recorded my PB at this gym. So I'm pretty excited about that. And it hasn't stalled my fat loss has continued to come down. So from on being on holiday, I've gone down from 83 kg down to 76 kg. So I don't know if that's completely accurate with the change of scales, but that's what the scales are reading at the moment. So I'll take it. But I definitely know the fat mass has come down, which I'm excited about, and that's been my target. So it's been great. But yeah, Colombia is a culture, new food, a new people, a new culture. Something I'm grateful for sure.
I did see that. I'm glad you're posting too, because I 100 and something kg. I translated it to pounds and 335 pounds, I think. That's some major. So you're hitting new strength gains out there, I guess.
Yeah, does that translate? Is 330 quite a bit in your culture? I don't know.
It's pretty big. But even though that machine doesn't, that machine is pretty specialty. Like, do they have a regular barbell bench press
Yeah,
or
they do, but because I don't have a spotter, I would rather use that machine. But I
true?
actually find okay, with regular bench press, there's different elements, right? So I don't think it's equivalent to benching 160 on a regular one, but with a regular one, you have your stabilizing muscles. With this, it really targets your exact chest, which I love. So it's an amazing machine, and I might buy one for my house because it's out where the durable for life. Like it's pretty much a lifetime machine. So looked an amazing machine. But anyway, that's my max for that machine. So remember, I'm 76 kg, benching over double my weight. So usually it's a feat just to be able to bench your own weight. That was a bit. I remember that was a big feat for me, benching 80 kg. Now I can bench double that. So that's an exciting milestone for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Keep posting, and it's I'm at a point too now with my videos. YouTube has been the best one for me.
Yeah, you're getting some great views on there, man.
Are you saw it on YouTube?
I'm seeing some of your views. You're getting great views and great likes. It's
Thank
good.
you. Yeah, on YouTube, it seems like now I'm getting a couple thousand per video. Uh,
Amazing.
yeah, it's awesome. And the
I need to keep up my work there. You're inspiring me.
oh, it's fun. Like, eventually we might find some other people who are even better content creators, but to join our circle. But just getting this results, like, just last couple days, I posted 200 subscribers, success milestone. I'm at 211, and it's starting to just snowball effect, and it's
It's
pretty
so
cool.
exciting, man. It's a testament to your consistency and your belief, and and they're inspirational too. So you're constantly putting out positive content, and the people that are going to vibe with it is catching momentum.
Hey, so I'm reading. Speaking of disempowering beliefs, I know I'm reading Unleash the Power Within by Tony Robbins,
Right.
and I am noticing some of the Ignite principles in there. Like he just explained Kaizen. He just talked about the heaven and hell part. Um, so it's a good refresher.
Yeah, no, he's got some brilliant stuff. So I really rate a lot of Tony Robbins stuff. So Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Dave Riddell, Stephen Covey, a lot of these guys just piecing it all together into one package. Powerful stuff, man. But that's a great book you're reading.
And as Stephen Covey says too, there's nothing really new under the sun. He even doesn't take ownership of the 7 habits. He just says that he just put them in a new packaged way. And for a lot of
Yeah,
the Gen Zs and millennials, they've never even heard of 7 habits or read
which
it.
is blows my mind, right? That we've got this new generation of wisdom, or people that have got no idea of the foundation of wisdom that they could be pulling from. But
Exactly.
but we live in a TikTok culture where the premium is someone's attention, and people getting trained to only be attentive for 15 seconds at a time.
It's
Unless
true.
it fully engages them.
Which is that fast sugar and this long form content that we're doing. Those reviews, it's somebody, whether they watched it for a minute or two, or as we slowly build the 1,000 true fans that watch all of the content, those are the attention spans that we're really looking for. And I feel like that comes with maturity and age, and
It does. And also, as I say to you quite often, we're going to go into a time where the greatest resource won't be the next latest fad. It won't be how good you can feel on this drug or how good you can feel on this psychedelic. It'll be the Stoic principle of being able to say no and yes at will and get back your control panel. And when you can decide to dial in your attention when you like and dial it back, that'll be the true drug. That'll be the true currency that people need to develop.
Ooh, I like that. The ability to focus, the ability to say yes and no. And you can tell the ones that get worn out and drained versus the ones that are fresh and running laps around other people.
100%, because if you think about it, the current Western paradigm is, in order to get happier, you need to get more and more and bigger and better, right? But that's defying the principle of going without to experience more appreciation. It goes against those Stoic philosophies. If you just give more and more of a drug, or you give anyone with a porn addiction, or you give anyone with an alcohol addiction or a drug addiction, all they need is they need more stimulus and more, and they're never satisfied. So the new normal becomes more. It's just like they did this test where the breathing noses things to expand their oxygen consumption. And yeah, they get amazing results. Problem is, if they keep doing that, there's times where you need to dilate your nostrils. You need to constrict them, and then you won't be able to pick up smells, or you now have to work harder to get the same result. So these tools can be great, but you got to know to use them when you need them and not to overdo it, like anything.
Yeah, so I'm gonna touch on the inspired, and I'll start off though with that Tim Ferriss idea.
Okay.
And he was talking about that there's so many influencers and so many people making content, and it's only going to continue to keep growing, that there will be curators, people who think for people who evaluate what this person is saying. This, you know, kind of like the curators for what to watch on Netflix, and then here's the top 10 videos. So there's going to be more curators for the categories that people will be trusting and looking for. And in this information age, right, drowning in data, people are starving for wisdom. And that is something where we continue to keep shining, is teaching people how to use all this knowledge. I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. That sort of ties in with a little bit of the Stoic idea about more is not always better. So even though we have more knowledge, we have more knowledge than any king had 500 years ago. Any king would have killed for what we have at our fingertips now. So that could be a great thing. We could talk about AI, where AI, where that's going to fit in the coming age, and touching back on what we talked about in 2020, which I sort of foresaw, which was the battle between spirit and machine. We're coming into an age where that is increasingly coming upon us, with ChatGPT just being the entry point of it, and then what actually autonomous AI is going to be. So there's that, maybe as an aside, but I love what you're saying there. We could really touch on. It's not about having all the ingredients. It's about having the recipe to use the ingredients to get the cake that you want. If you've just got all the ingredients, you might have the potential to make everything you want, but you could actually end up with a big mess. So maybe that's where we're
Man,
going.
good stuff that you were saying there, Gus, especially with artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. When they first really started showing up on my YouTube algorithm, I was seeing the predictions and the doomsday people talking about all the worst things that could happen in the future. And then the evolution became how to make money with ChatGPT, how to make it do all these different things. And I might have dabbled and listened on some of those things, which probably two things. Number one, with the right mindset, with the right growth mindset, with the right ability to get out of your comfort zone, you can make money any kinds of ways. But then I was realizing I'm just not passionate or excited about that at all. I don't care about the money. I don't care about having to use Chat GPT and things like that. Right? That just didn't get me excited. It doesn't matter how much money, right? So I think, well, artificial intelligence and this information age is showing a lot of people that the wealth of resources are all around us. Like you were saying, in that period of life and alignment, once you're secured and have more than enough, you look beyond just how to make money, those kind of schemes.
Right. Now you're touching on something brilliantly insightful, and this is the point. When you're coming from an insecure background where money solves all your problems, and there's insecurity, there's unstructure, there's your parents are always worried about your bills, and you're growing up in that environment, the only thing you want is to be secured, right? So you're going to go to ChatGPT and you don't care what you got to do. You're not thinking about, I want to flow my highest creativity, I want to show my greatest skill to the world. You're just thinking, man, money is the answer to everything, because you're coming from such a deficit model. Just like when you're freezing, have you ever been freezing cold, like almost frostburn, and you're freezing, and all you want to do is just get warm, not think of anything else, just warm your body out, right? And then even after you're totally warm, you still don't want to get out and do anything, right? You want to get to the point. So you've got to have to do an overcompensation of getting warm to fully relax and go, I don't have to worry about fear anymore. Now I can start to flow what I actually want to do. Now I can be productive in my day. When you don't have the heater going on in a cold house, you can't think about being productive. You just got to think about being warm, right? So the poor get poorer, the rich get poorer. But the point of that, or what I was trying to say there, is this, that when it comes to money, if you come from a deficit model, you have to do an overcompensation first to actually fully secure in your your inner child that, hey, life's all good. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to worry. And only then do you go, why am I doing these silly AI art, which requires none of my creativity, but a freaking robot who was supposed to empower me to do my own creativity? Now I'm using a robot to do it and get paid for it. Why am I doing this to pay my bills? This is no fun to me from an organic, creative level. It's only paying my bills. And when you get to that level, you go, actually, now I'm secure. I don't have to worry about that. And that's kind of what you're saying. Is that right? At that level, now you can go, actually, I want to give my time to what really energizes me, meets my deepest human needs, which is not getting some freaking AI to auto-generate art to sell to make more money when that extra 100 grand is not going to make any difference because you've already got 1 million. So
Yeah, I love it. Tell me more what you meant by machine versus the soul, the AI versus.
machine versus the spirit. So way back in the financial course at Ignite financial course, I did some envisioning, and this is when I first really got intrigued by AI and I thought of what was going to happen in the future. And this is before this big breakout of ChatGPT and all AI. I started envisioning about 2020, 2019. I was like, okay, what's going to be the end result if we end up with robots that will replace us, that replace any white collar job, any blue collar job, whatever. And the essence of it was a little bit conspiratorial, although I'm not, I don't believe fully down that. But the idea is that, there could come a time where we have to decide, are we going to let robots completely replace us? Right? The idea of spirit versus machine, because the spirit within us wants to express freedom, creativity, love, joy. A robot can't fully love you. It's not autonomous. But a human spirit can love you. It can be creative. It can serve out of its overflow. A robot can never offer you that. It can only offer you a pseudo version of that. And they're applying them in nursing homes and that sort of thing. They will meet a requirement, but at the end of the day, nothing like true free will given out of someone's decision. But the point is, going forward, I believe that there'll be an opportunity to, if we're looking, there's the utopian version and the dystopian. So to talking about what I meant by spirit versus machine, I was more talking about the dystopian potential, where AI might become enemy number one, and we might become a second-class citizen unless we know how to fight back. But the utopian version, which is what I'm hoping for, I don't want to have to be a warrior. I want to be a lover. I want to enjoy life. But if I have to, I'll have to be the warrior. But I'd rather be the lover of life. And the utopian version says, you know what? We can harmoniously exist with AI. They can do all the things that we don't like doing. And ideally, we can be freed up into greater levels of expression of who we are as humans, which AI can't do as long as we do it from authenticity. So those are the two possible scenarios I see ahead of us.
Wow, the utopian and dystopian. I have two ideas that go along with this. The first being a story that I heard from Aubrey Marcus, and it was in one of his ayahuasca debriefing podcast solo sessions, and he was asking Source in the middle of the experience, and he was asking about aliens or alien life, and he says, well, alien life has gotten to a point where, or there is a species out there that has gotten to a point where they work very efficient. They don't have really a lot of the problems that we have. They've advanced and they have developed. But in a way, the voice was telling Aubrey, in a way, we kind of are envious, or we're kind of envious of where you guys are at in life right now. You guys have challenges and problems to solve. You guys have all this free will, all this choice, all this creativity that's out there, and then there's still so much to be explored and so much diversity. It just made me realize that, I forgot which book it was, but everything was perfect and there was absolutely nothing but perfection all around. And that was the definition of hell, where everything was just simple. It's like if there was no choices at all. And it kind of got me thinking in that kind of direction. But artificial intelligence is our logic, or that left side of the brain. It's algorithms, it's efficiency, it's pulling data. Right now, that's really what it is. It's just pulling data and just spitting it back to it, but it eventually will have a mind of its own. And what's missing is that soul, or that spirit, that is not quantifiable right now, which is what makes us empathetic. And that's something that, who knows if artificial intelligence, being just a left-brained machine by its nature, will ever be able to have.
Well, you've just raised a lot of different places we could go with what you just said there, which I love. Maybe we'll just touch on a little bit of that, a little bit of that. But let's get back to the point you just made. But I just want to touch back on the point you were making. I think that is a fascinating thing. At one level, as humans, we seek peace, we seek no problems, we seek plain sailings, Caribbean seas, and no splashing of water to upset us, right? At one level, we want that. This is the beauty of humanity. At one level, we crave certainty, we crave stability, we crave peace. But guess what? We never last in that too long, because another dichotomy we have is we crave uncertainty, surprise, and variety. So just like what we said, the person who's brought up in instability, all they want is stability. Well, guess what? Once you get that, you want to create chaos. You want to get out of that. You want to open Pandora's box. You want to be moved. You want to be out of control. You want life to shake you up. And so we were made with these two crazy, challenging, opposing forces within us: the need to be in control, the need to be out of control, the need for certainty, the need for uncertainty. And they go like this all the time.
Wow.
And depending on what's being suppressed, you desire that. So the desire is never to get rid of one, is to actually know how to have both and live with both. But brilliant point of what you're saying. And so one aspect, Aubrey Marcus, that's a fascinating idea. We think we've created heaven with no problems, but actually we've created a form of hell, which is such a strange concept. But I can see what they're saying, because we're not satisfying a part of our human nature when we try and create a world without problems. And that's where AI could get. If we make humans redundant, we can't get significance from our job anymore. We can't get significance from our relationships because everyone's with their own robot version of a spouse. We can't get any significance through human interaction. Frick, we're growing our own babies in test tubes, right? So all of this gets outsourced. What's going to be left for human will, human willpower, human choice? It's all going to be outsourced. At that point, that could create a dystopia, even though it looks like a utopia on the surface. We'll have an imprisoning of someone's spirit because they've lost their autonomy, right? So that's an interesting point you bring up. But to the point of, what was the latest point you just touched on?
Wow, what you said is just always so poetic, Gus. I love what you were saying. It's pretty cool. Just that last point was the nature of the left brain. Doesn't it feel sometimes that, we created these concrete jungles, we created these major cities, iPads and screens, and they do a lot of things, and then they're pretty awesome. But I feel like there was this one documentary that's called that progress just really isn't progress. Like, really looking at how the ancients lived, they didn't have trash and they didn't make things that damage the environment. It biodegraded. That's why you only really see the stone structures that remain in pottery and things like that. So, surviving progress. Surviving this progress. And artificial intelligence is that birth child of all this progress. And nuclear weapons, have the potential of putting us back to the Stone Age. So it's advocating for, yes, we have this high tech, but we need the high touch, the human touch,
right,
evolving right next to it, which I don't think globally has.
Right. So you bring up on another big meta point, and I love using this analogy because this you can use this for weight loss, you can use this for progress. Progress is never linear, right? When you get a breakthrough, you inevitably, there's going to be a reaction. Anything new or innovative, there's always a reaction. To Elon Musk saying electric cars are going to one day rule the world, there's a reaction, right? anything new someone brings. To Wright brothers who flew an airplane, there was a reaction. But here's the point. The point is this: when the waves go out and they come in, right? Do the waves go out in a linear fashion? Does the longest one happen and the one just below that and the next one? No. You go, if you're silly like me, sometimes you walk down the beach, you go, cool, the tide's going out, I can just walk where the last one's been. No, because there'll be a few that go short, and then one will come and sweep you back and they'll get you wet, right? And that's the way it goes. Same with weight loss. But for anything that we innovate in, there's going to be a group of people that it affects adversely, or there's going to be a thing that it affects the environment adversely quite often. And what will happen is there just needs to be enough lag time to find out the solution to that. So things go in waves, they go like that. So there'll be a new breakthrough, and then there'll be, oh, it's not so good. Oh, we just need a solution. Like the climate, like anything that we do, we just haven't lived long enough yet to get the next solution to the next thing that we created.
You just sparked the images, and you can wind me down whenever you have to go, Gus, because I respect your time. But which makes me think of the obsessive addiction to the market and the economic capitalist machine here in the US. I don't know. Did we skip over a recession? That's kind of what's the headlines are saying. Like, okay, well, inflation's coming back down, and people are saying, well, it's time for another bull market.
Wow, really? Is that what?
So
That's
it's
amazing.
like, who knows, really? Like, are we going to enter another recession? Like, there's people who are just holding their breath, but
Wow.
it's just the government can print so much money to keep masking and inflating the bubble, and just who knows what the future holds. But there's an addiction to always trying to grow, and when things always just grow, we call that a cancer.
Absolutely. I just think of, imagine being a parent, right? Or even if you've got a dog, you can think of a dog, but imagine a 2-year-old you've got, and every time you don't give them a lollipop when they want, they cry and they throw their toys. So as a parent, you go, well, I just better give them a lollipop. Then they go move on to ice cream. They go, I better just give them an ice cream. And what's going to happen to that child if you just keep giving them what they want every single time?
Spoiled brats.
Yeah, and not only that, what's going to happen to their body?
Oh, they're getting fat.
Right. And so if we think of the government as the parent and, the people as the child, they don't like being told to be restricted to pulling their behavior. There's only a few cases in history where society's done that without being forced to, such as Iceland, who were actually able to pull back in their own way of living and completely change the way the economy worked. And they could become independent as a country. The problem is that we build a bigger problem. So yes, temporarily, like the waves that we just talked about, oh, cool, it's receding. I wouldn't breathe too easy, because if we haven't changed any behavior, we're only creating a bigger problem when it comes collapsing down. So yes, let's enjoy the wave for what it is, but also, as we know with Ignite, have your backup strategy ready. So when it does collapse, you're not going to be dependent on the system. Because like what Warren Buffett says, when the tide goes out, they see everyone who was skinny dipping.
My plan B is hit the escape button, is to private jet fly right to your front door, Gus, in New Zealand.
Yes, sir. We have a property for you in New Zealand waiting.
Yeah. Guys, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I learned so much, and I get such great wisdom. We covered artificial intelligence, the battle between machine and spirit, and a little bit of economics. I think those are going to be some pretty good titles.
Of a podcast version this week, and just post up in the group. Where you were and your goal for the week.
Yep, sounds good, Gus. Well, I appreciate it, man. Enjoy Colombia.
Will do, brother. Catch you later.
Later. Bye.